Yes, we are, man.
This is so cool. I love going live.
I do
Like
love
there's
going live.
right. There's like so much pressure.
It always is pressure, man. But we're made with pressure, dude. What are you talking about? Like we can always handle it. Not unlike the guys we're going to talk about today. They can handle pressure.
Can they? Can they though?
I don't know, man. I mean, look, I don't know if they can or not. Like, I'm so tired of social media, like tracking yachts and stuff like that. Like, I don't even
Well,
understand what that has to anything to do with anything. I mean, look, man, if you thought that that Max was going to sign with Mercedes and it had to be done on a yacht, like you're crazy, man. We live in a generation of WhatsApp and all kinds of messaging tools. Like, come on, do you think the Toto and Max can't FaceTime or something? Like, what are you talking about?
that's right. Well, anyway, that is the segue, isn't it? While the rest of the F1 world is busy updating their Find My Friend to work out where Toto and Max are. Oh, how close to Sardinia are they now? Oh, have they walked over to each other? Oh, are they on each other's jet? And sifting through reams and reams of accounts that have friends, friends, inside Mercedes or Red Bull or the FIA or F1 that are telling them that a deal for Max Verstappen to have moved to Mercedes already has been signed, and George is already out the door, or George has signed an extension, or Kimi's now Toto and Toto's now Jean Tot. All this stuff is out there. I just want to go through some of the options. All I want to do is go, okay, look, if any of these things are true, how does it play out? And ultimately, what is the best option for Max Verstappen going forwards? Should we play out a couple of scenarios?
We should, but I just want to say on the front end,
Yeah,
the
yeah, hit
best
me.
option for Max Verstappen is to join the Tired GP. Like nothing else comes close to it. We don't have the money or anything, but he wouldn't have more fun anywhere else but with us. Just want to throw it out
It's true. Listen, Max, if you're out there listening to this, like we wax lyrical about you all day long, come join. We'd love to have you on the show.
there.
There you go. Shameless plug in the middle of a live show. We can't even cut it out. Oh man.
That's good. Good. Leave it. I love the
Leave it.
embarrassment.
We've got no choice.
We got no choice. That's true. That's true. Leave
That,
it.
that,
Leave it. YouTube. Just leave
that's right.
it.
All two people that are listening to
uh,
this right now. All three people.
oh
Wow.
my
Hello,
goodness.
guys. Hi,
Hello.
everyone.
You've chosen a heck of a way to spend your Saturday with us.
I mean, this
All
is
right, let's make it
I
worth your
can't think of
time,
a better
Shez. Come
way.
on.
All right. Anyway, let's try and get to it before this turns into a farce. All right. So the first option is Max leaves Red Bull and goes to Mercedes.
Oof. We're starting with the juiciest one, aren't we? I mean, look, Shez.
That's the one that everyone is chatting about, isn't it? It's the one that is apparently already a done deal, according to Bob on Twitter's
Wow, poor
mates.
poor Bob taking a stray
Poor
from you
Bob.
there. I don't. Hey, look, the Max to Mercedes situation has been there. I should tell you, Shez, on this very podcast, in the aftermath of the Lewis Hamilton news, I had made you a top 5 list of drivers that should replace Lewis Hamilton, and I had put none other than Max Verstappen number one on the list. And Shez, I got this reaction from you, which is, eh. Like you summarily dismissed me with not even a proper phrase or a sentence. You just didn't even want to buy into it. So I've been on the Max to
I mean,
Mercedes.
spoiler alert. I guess you're going to
Come
know
on, man.
what my I guess
No,
you're going
but
to know
I'm
what my
saying
response to this is going to be.
I agree, but at the time you dismissed me as if I was an idiot, and
I don't
and,
think
and
it's changed.
okay, well, I mean that the second part has not changed, but look, man, the Max to Mercedes thing, it makes a lot of sense if Max is going to leave Mercedes. So the question that you asked is, if Max leaves, should he go to Mercedes? That would absolutely be the number one team to go to because they have proven that they can be competitive in terms of everything that we think about with a competitive team, right? They have the right support structure, they have the right leadership, They have the right other driver. No, we'll debate who the other driver is, but they certainly have the technical team to make it happen. And then if rumors are to be believed, which I always kind of take that with a bucket of salt, not a pinch of salt, but if rumors are to be believed, they are going to be the head-on favorite in
Okay, Omar, but
2026. So
we're
if
talking
that's
about
the case,
favorites. The question here was, do we think it's a good move?
of course, it is a good move. If
Oh,
he
okay,
if
okay.
he's going to move, that is a good move. Why wouldn't you go to the team that has the most out there? Like, and really,
Does
just
it?
look
Does
at
it have
this.
the most out there?
Okay, but look at the competition. Ferrari, look at what they're doing. We don't even know if Fred's going to stick on there, right? Right? Red Bull, we already know that, right? Who else is there on the grid where you're like, oh wow, this is the team that could give you a chance? So it's not even. I mean, you could just by default say it's Mercedes.
Okay,
And
so your response to this is Mercedes is basically the default team, and that's good enough. It's just good
default best
enough.
option given the current situation.
Oh, okay. Well,
Right?
I think we're gonna have to counter that at some point. But let's have a look at Mercedes on its merits. So what does Mercedes have? So as usual, like every team has technical, operational, and strategy, right? So from a technical point of view, and that's really the main thing to talk about from a car competitiveness point of view, right? Max is currently at Red Bull in a car which just isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing, right? It was at a peak in 2022, 2023, and then it's fallen off a cliff face precipitously, and we're now at a point where Max having 2 race wins in a season, well, in the first half of a season, is somehow a good performance. I mean, it's not, is it? Given where they were. So moving to Mercedes has to be a technical uplift. Do we think it will be that? Well, we're going into 2026. There's two sides to this. There is a big aero shakeup. We're still going to be in a ground effects era, but the power of that ground effect is going to be lessened. We're going to have active overbody aerodynamics, but the pièce de résistance, the big ticket item, is that the power unit's going to change. We're going to ditch the MGUH. We're going to increase the battery. We're going to increase the amount of power that you get from the motors to make it a 50-50 split. And if everything is to be believed, Mercedes seem to be stealing a march on everybody else. This seems to be the rumor that we hear day in, day out. And look, I don't know if that's true, but I put good money on them being a damn sight better than Red Bull powertrains. A power unit setup that was set up by the outgoing team principal, Christian Horner. And, it's essentially unproven. And it's on a campus that is unproven. It may have big names, but they're untested in this situation with this team. Is that really a place that you want to stay when you know how complicated the power unit recipe is? And they seem to be the ones that are complaining about it the most, have been from the beginning. Like, we don't want 50-50. We should have more power from the internal combustion engine. So from a technical point of view, moving to Mercedes might be a good move. Operationally, though, and this is where I think it's important, and Amara, I want to know what you think. If Max moves to Mercedes, and this is the big question, who's his teammate?
Oof, Shaz, I do want to answer that, and we're going to get to that. This is the meat of why we're having this discussion on a Saturday, putting our lives on risk with our significant others. Shaz, let's just back up
My
for 1 second.
five-year-old's in
Let
favour.
me. I know you're 5 year old too. Yes, that's right. Let's back up for a second. You said something about all the question marks around Red Bull, right? And we know that in F1, performance is all relative, right? So the question is, yes, maybe let's just assume that the pecking order is Mercedes, but then after that, I don't know. There's rumors about Ferrari being right thereabouts. We don't know. I mean, I could make a case that just given the fact that you do not know what Red Bull powertrains will look like, what are we talking about in terms of the delta between peak form Mercedes and wherever Red Bull are? Because if the gap is, let's say, a tenth, right, or something, I don't know, like something that's very manageable, you would think over the course of a season,
Okay,
And
well,
with Max Magic, he could make
okay,
it
Omar,
happen. So I
let me
guess the
let me
question
let
is,
me
where's
let,
the
let,
nuance
let
there?
me let me give
All
you an
right.
example. In
Okay.
2014,
All right.
when the new power unit settings came out,
Hmm.
yeah, do you know what the average gap was between Mercedes and the next fastest team?
Yeah, it was huge. I don't know the exact
It,
number, but
it
it was
was
it
it
was
was
like
it
nowhere.
was a second.
Yeah. Okay.
On
Yeah. Fair enough.
average, it was a
But but
second.
but the exact opposite could also happen. Like my point is, you just don't know, right? If you don't
Okay,
know, you
but
don't know.
Amar, you have to look at the hardware. Like Michael in our comments is saying exactly what we're all thinking. They've been gutted. They've got a brand spanking new power unit team
Agreed.
without any big names within it. They've lost their talismanic technical director. They've lost their operational helm, Jonathan Wheatley, and they're about to lose their strategic helm as well, Will Courtney, to McLaren. They've already lost the next in line, Rob Marshall. They don't have anyone.
Do not
And the,
disagree.
the Verstappens are literally sitting there saying,
Wow.
we don't think Pierre Vacher actually understands how to get us out of this. So they don't have any pedigree when it comes to the power unit, and they don't have any personnel when it comes to the aero side of it. So what's the future for Red Bull?
I don't know.
That
Yeah,
that's
look.
Whereas Mercedes have got a proven
Mhm,
Brackley
mhm,
power unit
mhm.
setup. They've got James Allison, who's probably like, if you're not going to have Adrian Newey, James Allison's probably the guy you're going to want to have in your team in a setup that is proven. You know, okay, they've had trouble for the last 3 or 4 seasons, but they won 8 championships together.
Yeah. Well, this is why I led with Mercedes being the best option on the
Okay, but
grid.
yeah,
If
so
you leave Red Bull, I think again there is no argument that Mercedes would
Amar,
be the number one option there.
the should he stay at Red Bull is further down. Understand the structure,
Oh man,
friend.
come on! I'm just making a case for why why Mercedes could be an option too. I hear you. All right, so let's get back to the thing, which is me telling you that Max to Mercedes was a done deal because it made most sense. And I told you at that point in time, this is again going back to a year removed, Max alongside Kimi would make most sense. And so I would go with Kimi being there because I'll just start with the very fact that they now already have him in the seat, let alone everything else that could have been a question mark leading into last year or into this year, right? You could have questioned whether he needed to stay another year in the junior category, whether he needed to be in Williams or whatever the case might have been. The cat is out of the bag. The toothpaste is out of the tube, Shez. You cannot move him now anymore. You cannot. And look, he's had a. I would say he's had a pretty subpar season, arguably not even a good season, really. But he's a rookie. We know how difficult it is to move into a new car, let alone whatever testing you've done before. These cars are not easy to drive. Pretty much all the rookies have struggled, but have had their moments of shine too. Kimi has not had as many moments as perhaps Isaac Hadjar has, and even Gabriel Bortoleto, like in some ways. But this is the rookie season, and he is so
Do you
damn
know
young.
which
He just
rookie?
graduated from high school, Shaz. He just
Amar, do,
did.
do you know? Do you know which rookies performed even worse?
Which Lawson, we counting him as a rookie? Is
No,
that
no,
right?
no, 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 no. There's another
On,
couple
on
of
the current
rookies
on the
on the
current grid,
current grid. Yeah, 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 yeah.
who's on the? Jack Doohan.
Yeah. Who else?
Goodness, I didn't know you were going to stump me on this.
Who
I
who
don't
just
know.
who took Doohan's seat?
Uh, Colapinto. He's a
Yeah,
rookie.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
He
well,
yeah,
I
and
wasn't
and
thinking
and
him. I
which
was
just out of interest, what engines are Alpine using next season?
Mercedes.
Ah, that
Okay,
seems
yeah,
neat
yeah,
and
yeah.
tidy,
But
doesn't it?
okay, but
Why
you
don't
just.
we farm
Hmm,
out the guy that is not performing so well right
okay,
now,
okay, okay, okay.
and
Hang on.
give it, give
You
him,
want to
give him
send
a
him to
season?
you want to send him to the hellhole that's Alpine. Yes, they're using Mercedes engine, but they could be getting the rest
It's
of the
a
parts
it's
of
a hellhole.
Amazon.com for
Yeah,
like
Omar,
for
it's a
crying.
hellhole. It's a hellhole
Why would you do that to
with
him?
light at the end of the tunnel,
Ches,
right?
he is the phenom that Toto has been
Is he?
waxing
Is he?
lyrical
What?
for a while.
Where's
There's
the
a
evidence for
whole
that?
Netflix documentary made just on his seat.
Okay, great. I love Netflix documentaries. You
No,
know what
no,
I
but
like even more?
I'm not
You know what I
disagreeing
like
with you.
even more? I like to see performance on track. Tell me
I'm
where
not
that
disagreeing
performance
with
is.
that. But look, man, putting him in this card this year was not about performance. It's about getting him up to speed. That's it. No one
Where
was
else? So
expecting him
why would it not
to
be
finish in
better?
the top five in the
Okay, so
championship
why would it
standings.
not
Like, what are
be?
you talking about there?
Why would it not be getting him up to speed in an Alpine?
It is not getting him up to speed because guess who's surrounding the team outside of the damn engine? Like you have no earthly idea what they're going to do.
Okay,
Their ownership structure is
okay.
SH1T. Operationally, there are question marks. You don't know what kind of chassis they'll come up with. Like you have no idea. Whereas if he is in house, he is getting mentorship from Toto every way along every step along the way. He's going to have
He
either
can
Max
still
or
have
George to
that.
learn with. He
George
can have
Russell was
that.
at George Russell was at Williams
Man,
for
it was a
3
different
seasons.
time. It was a
No, it
different
wasn't. It's
time. It was a
exactly the same
it was
time.
a so Shaz, that argument makes sense if he was going to be in the junior category this year and you were going to look at bringing him up to F1 next year rather. That if that's the case, that would have been fine. But you made that decision. Toto made that decision last year.
He
That
made
it's
that decision
over.
because he
Why
was
would you demote
railroaded
him?
into it. He was railroaded into it because he had a spare seat and no one to fill it.
He could have got anybody else to do a 1 year, man. He didn't have to put Kimi in there. Like you're telling me that Kimi
But
was
why
the
not?
only choice.
I'm not saying it was the only choice, but it was the most sensible choice of the
Okay.
options that he had at the time.
All
Now,
right.
what I would argue is that actually having Kimi in an Alpine for a season or two is not the worst thing in the world for him. It's not like he doesn't have a route back. It's not like Mercedes haven't invested time in him. It's not like Toto's cutting all ties with him. But the other guy in the car at the moment, George Russell, is also a Mercedes protege.
Yeah.
And can I just say, outside of McLaren and Red Bull, he's the only other driver to have won a Grand Prix this season.
Correct. But
Right?
that also says a lot about what McLaren are, right? Like this is not. It's a
Sure,
glass
but
half.
he's performing
There's
very well right now, probably better than he has at any other point in his career. This
there
is
is no
also a guy
disagree.
that outperformed Lewis Hamilton,
Yes.
7-time world champion.
I don't disagree with
So
you.
so
I
so
think that the
so what
question is
I
whether you are thinking about the now or the future. And if you decided to bring Kimi up to your team last year, and that is a decision
okay,
you've
come on.
made for the long term, not for 1 year.
So
You're
that's why
gonna
I'm answering that. My question is already answering that. Alpine is just a stepping stone for Kimi before you bring him back into the Mercedes field. That's still looking at the future. But in the here and now, you've already got George Russell. And George Russell is the reason that I think that Mercedes is not the best bet for
so
Max Verstappen. As much as I would love to see those two going up against each other in the same team, I don't think that Max really wants to do
okay.
that. I'm sure he thinks that he can beat George Russell in the same car, but does he think it would be easier than taking
Well,
on somebody else in another team? And I
so
think our chat is going crazy already talking about the other option. We'll come to
yes. We're coming to the Cadillac and the Aston, guys. Just one quick thing. The reason I also picked Max
Aston. I was
to
totally going to say Cadillac.
there's
I
this
thought I
Aston.
thought I thought Sauber.
There's Aston in there too.
You
I
really
think
want a project
shout out
Max.
to Baxi, by the way. Baxi BF1. Please follow him on his YouTube channel. Legend. One thing, Shez, the reason I picked Max to replace Russell and not be alongside him is Max wouldn't want Russell alongside him. That's the only reason. I don't believe that this is an
Yeah.
indictment on Russell in any way, shape, or form. The reason a decision hasn't been made is just this. Toto has to decide between Max and Russell. That's what it's down to.
I don't think he
Don't
does.
hear.
I
Yes, he
don't think
does.
he does.
Because if he wants Max, there's no way that Russell stays on it. There's just no way because the Camp Verstappen is, man, they just pretty much nuked the whole Red Bull organization. You think they're going to want to compete with George? That's
Mate,
not what they're going
I
to do. That's part of the
guarantee,
reason why
I
Danny
guarantee
Rick
what
left.
happens in that situation is George, gorgeous George, goes, all right, cool, I'm out.
Gorgeous.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
that's
to,
fine. No,
I'm gonna head off to Aston Martin then. Like he's not going to go to Red Bull.
I don't know about that.
He will find a way to get into an Aston Martin and get into the seat, which I think is probably the better seat
All
for
right,
Max.
let's get to it then.
Ultimately.
Max to Aston, right? That's what you're saying.
So this is what everybody in the chat is already talking about, right?
Yeah.
Everyone already seems to think this is a done deal, and we've talked about it on many occasions where you have been Mercedes. I have been Aston, and the reason for that is all of the ingredients are there. They're not there now, but they are being built up. The greatest designer of Formula One cars of his generation, maybe of any generation, is currently a part owner of the Silverstone team, and in addition, the greatest engine designer of the past 15 years is also there, Andy Cowell, in a team principal role, a guy that is massively competitive, that has already rung the changes at Aston Martin in a season where they are not competitive, building for what he knows is going to be the big push to try and make the most of all the massive investment that the billionaire owner Lawrence Stroll has put into the company. New wind tunnel, new sim, Adrian Newey to understand how to best use those facilities, a brand spanking new works partnership with the last team that Max Verstappen won a proper world championship with, Honda. This is the stuff of dreams for Max ultimately, isn't it? And on top of that, you know, what is it going to take to buy Fernando Alonso out of his contract with them? Probably quite a lot. Is Lawrence going to pay it? Hell yeah, he's going to pay it. Am I going to feel sorry for Fernando? Of course, I'm going to feel sorry for Fernando. But compassion doesn't come into Formula One. And ultimately, that then leaves you with Max Verstappen in an Adrian Newey designed car with a Honda power unit with probably the best and most up to date facilities in Formula One against Lance Stroll in the other car. Tell me that isn't a match made in heaven.
I, I love how you jumped the gun and just said he's replacing Alonso. Like I did want you to back up and have the discussion about where he goes. Look, I cannot disagree with the logic of being in an Adrian Newey design car, right?
Meikle's with me. If he goes
Miko's with you.
goes to Aston, Alonso is out.
Shout out to
out,
Miko,
Miku.
man.
There you go, mate.
Thank you for your support.
Oh, I quite like this one. Merck W Sproul. Hey, what's up? Merck won't want the cost of Max and George payroll. They might not want to pay the cost of the damage.
Which is why they would not have both of them.
That's probably what they don't want to pay for. It'll be Spain 2016 every single race.
Every single race, yes. It would the payroll would be out of proportion, and they would need the sponsorship, on everything. Who knew that the answer was very simple? They can't afford both drivers. Maybe that's just it. That's just it. That's just it. Listen, man, I think that Aston makes a lot of sense if it's not Mercedes, right? The only thing that Aston don't have, and you described a lot of what they do have, and they have Adrian Newey, is what they don't have is any kind of proof of concept in terms of being able to execute race weekends a certain way, being in the mix for wins on a consistent basis. And you have to admit there are question marks about how their structure works, although it does seem to be coming along very well. So I think you're right in thinking that if the decision were sort of keeping the future in mind, let's say a year, maybe 2 years out too, that would make a lot of sense. Now, look, if Adrian designs a car that is just going to be like what it was in 2022 with Red Bull, then it's game over. It doesn't even matter at that point, right?
Right, and that's what I would think that Max would bank on, and history backs that up.
But on the other hand, you have the Mercedes engine, and then guess who? Not just Mercedes, McLaren would be in it too, because they have shown that they can come back and be competitive too. One of the shames, Shez, of not having Adrian at Red Bull at this moment in time is we cannot see what he would have come back with. Like that would have been the great chess match to have gone through, right, with Max. So I suppose it would make sense that if Plan B is to go to Aston. By the way, it's not a bad Plan B. I think he's going to make a lot more money than Mercedes offer. I think Lawrence will give up even ownership if he has to, like whatever. I don't know. Jos Verstappen will be on the board. I don't know. It could be all of that. Like, but I genuinely think that he would do well at Aston, but it's all a question of whether they can put it together, and that's the only question. There's no doubting it. The doubt would only be because you just haven't seen it, and Aston Martin have been so mediocre, right? And for the last, really, I don't know, 5 years, if you want to say that. Like, I can't remember a couple of Alonso podiums. That's about it. And really, that would be on account of others' failures, right? As much as their own success.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree that actually the building block, the sort of performance prologue isn't great. In the way that Sauber suddenly seem to be finding their feet and giving us a bit of optimism that Audi might actually do something. Aston aren't doing anything, but even when you look at that, the fact that Adrian Newey came in and his remit was very specifically, don't look at 2025, look straight at 2026, something that he's already been working on in his little notebook at Red Bull, and the fact that when it comes to new rule changes, Adrian Newey seems to be the silver bullet. Like there hasn't been a rule change where Adrian Newey has actually designed a car other than 2014, and I argue even then, the Red Bull of 2014 was aerodynamically very good enough to win 2 races that season. There hasn't been a rule set change that Newey hasn't absolutely aced, and that's going all the way back to the narrow track cars of 1998. He turned up at McLaren season 1. He's built a championship winner. And at Williams he was doing exactly the same thing. The second he left, the car that the next car they designed on their own was an absolute dog, and it's happened even quicker at Red Bull. So if you're looking for a golden ticket in an aero formula, which I think this rule set will be at least partially, Adrian Newey's your guy, and Honda this time aren't coming into it as a completely new entity with zero experience. They're coming into it with 4 seasons worth of power unit knowledge. They're not the Audi of 2026. They're the Honda of 2021, I would have thought. And you put those two things together, and I think it's a great recipe. But for me, it's a question of why would he not go to Aston Martin? And the problem is that the Toto overtures for me are a red herring. They're a massive distraction. And Toto was doing it for his own ends, not just to lure Max over, but there was a huge amount of I want to destabilize the team that he's coming from. And he seems to have succeeded in doing that.
I wonder what kind of text message Toto sent to Christian, or if he did at all after he got fired. Do you think
fix your effing driver?
Is that what he said? Or fix your resume is what he would be saying.
But you know what though, right? Just as a complete random tangent, what I didn't realize was Red Bull has sort of like 6 entities in the UK, and Christian Horner is still listed as a director of all 6 of them, like earning like 4 or 5 million for each of those roles. And he hasn't been sacked from any of those roles. He might be operationally not team principal anymore, but he's still getting those salaries from what we understand. That's like a £20 million a year salary for doing like nothing.
It's got to be part of some sort of settlement, right? But it's also weird, by the way, since we're talking about this, is that the guy has been with the team for 20 years and he gets fired midway through the season. And then Red Bull put out this video waxing lyrical about him just after firing. It was like, what are you going to do? Like, you didn't even give a chance to let him finish the season out. Like, come on. That's shout out to David, by the way. David asks us if we will ever know the truth about what happened to Horner. I have no idea. I feel like that's a bit of a
honestly, I still want to hear about Alonso's 2007 season. Like I want to. I need to hear the autobiographical memoir. And I have a feeling that if Christian Horner wants to earn another cheeky 20 million, he'll just publish everything in a book once the NDA has expired.
There's a tell-all book coming at some point.
Yeah.
Listen, man. So
I think as with all these things, we will at some point, and there'll be a bring back V6 turbo hybrids episode all about it in about 20 years' time. I hope I'm here for it.
So Shaz, Stephen asks us if Max leaves, does he take GP with him? Seems more likely since Aston would be open to that than Mark. I don't know. I think that I would imagine, Shaz, my instinctual answer is depends on what his deal with Red Bull is. That is GP's deal with Red Bull is. So we know that Lewis Hamilton couldn't bring Bono with him. So
but you know why that was? Because Mercedes promoted Bono in the same way that GP has been promoted at Red Bull. So it depends whether GP thinks that actually his ceiling is higher at Red Bull, or does he want to keep working with the greatest driver on the grid at the moment? I mean, I don't know.
So you said we walked past the fact that Max would replace Alonso. Are you sure that would happen? I mean, don't you think Fernando is like kicking and screaming and locking the door and like, hey, no, I'm not going here. You take the other guy out, like just like when we were kids and we were forced. Take my brother, like don't or my sister, whatever the case might be. Like I feel like I don't feel like Fernando's just going to want to leave like that, Ches. Like,
I know. Well, look,
are we going to talk
as
about Stroll being replaced? I mean, come on. Like, are we not going to talk about that?
wow. So that would probably be the neatest solution. Um, but I would probably argue, and maybe this is controversial, but I'd probably argue that if you have an Adrian Newey designed car, uh, Max has experience of driving that particular sort of thing. They have a good relationship already. Fernando and Adrian
Okay.
might be building one up,
So,
but you'd expect that as competitive as Alonso might be, as adaptable as he is, Max would probably still have the edge.
so let me play along with you. Okay, Max has the edge. Okay, fine. He's gonna go and replace Alonso. Let's just say that. Okay, how do you think that works out? Like, if Max dominates his teammates, in this case Lance, just like he has every. Are we gonna have conversations about the second Aston seat at all? Are we gonna do that, or we're just
Probably.
gonna like, hey, it doesn't matter. It's a Stroll. So, what are we
So,
gonna do?
that again is interesting, right? Because look, when Adrian Newey was at his pomp at Red Bull, um, when Perez came in, a guy with some experience, not somebody that they just dumped in the car after 5 minutes of being in a Alpha Tauri. Actually, Perez performed okay,
Yeah,
didn't he?
it's fine.
It
Yeah.
was only in 2023 when he said himself, "Look, we're going down a direction I cannot follow. It's hurting me so much. We're breaking up."
Wow,
That's
that's
what
almost
happened.
I said it. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that is what happened,
So
wasn't
what
it? Like,
happens when Lance say the same thing? He goes to dad and complains, man. Just like you're like you're assuming that this is all good. Like, you're thinking about Adrian Newey. I'm thinking
but
about
dude,
like,
this is already happening. Okay, like you can point to Lance having scored the lion's share of the points at Aston Martin this season, but it's an anomaly, isn't it? And in reality, Alonso's always been the guy, and even when it was Vettel was still outperforming Lance on average, not by as big a margin, but it was still there. So Lance, the team seemed to be quite happy to have Lance nonchalantly dissing them over the radio throughout a race, and not really doing anything because he doesn't seem to want to put that much effort into sort of turning around and saying, actually, this is what I want. Although we hear he's not a bad development driver, I just failed to see the evidence of that anywhere. And I think, if it's a straight up conversation between this is what Max wants and the car's going faster, the team's going to follow that route.
oof.
At the end of the day, right?
Well, yeah.
Lawrence Stroll is a winner, right? And what he wants to do is win with this
Chaz,
team.
yeah, you are underrating this whole thing. I mean, you're thinking about Camp Verstappen. I mean, think about the Stroll Empire. Like, these two things will not work together. Like, we're worried about Max and George getting together. I mean, this is the
I think
Stroll Verstappen feud
I
would be
think
potentially wow.
I think
I'm
Lance
here for
is.
it. I'm
I
here for
mean,
it.
mate, I think other than having his daddy in CEO owner role, Lance has very few weapons at his disposal.
That is the only weapon you need,
What,
Chaz. My dad owns the team and
but
just paid you like,
what's he gonna do? Add
I don't
ballast
know.
to Max's car? Give Max the extra giant massive wing at Monza? I think it's unlikely.
I don't think it's unlucky.
Max,
I
Max,
don't.
Max. It's 40 degrees and burning hot. We should put you on inters. Okay. That's the only way you're gonna make that work.
Yeah. I mean, I still remember the time when we have drivers still waiting to get a seat while Lance keeps driving that seat, and there's only 21, 22 seats now soon in Formula One. But here we are. Yeah, I mean, look, Shez, I think that the Aston combination makes a lot of sense on paper. I would just say everything looks great on paper until you actually start to put things together,
But
and
you seem
then,
to be very happy to say that Mercedes is a great
well, I
fit for
mean,
him.
it's they've proven that they can do that. Although I would say,
Have
to
they?
your credit, they haven't proven that in this rule set. But the next rule set is favorable to them, as you just said. They you explained to us why Mercedes would be
But it
dominant.
might be more favourable for Aston Martin,
It might be.
notwithstanding the one
Maybe.
second they were quicker than everybody else in 2014. Okay, final, maybe at least third item on the ticket. Um, Max stays at Red Bull.
Oof.
How does that play out? I mean, we've poo pooed
Yeah,
that for the
I
last
did.
33 minutes,
Well, I
but
did too. Yeah, yeah.
is there an argument to say Max should stay at Red Bull? Amar, go.
So
Tell me why
I
he
have
should stay at
been
Red Bull.
I've been very confused by the narrative from the media in general, right? That now this, given that Horner's gone, that this would be the time when Max would stay. I mean, I'm not sure based on. I mean, again, if you unless Red Bull has put together a plan that actually seems to work for the Verstappens, I don't know who it would be centered around because they already lost all those key pieces. So I suppose had this change happen 18 months ago, that would make sense. But I do not see what there is for Red Bull to do in terms of being able to catch up at the level that Max would want them to, and so they can be in victory contention every weekend. So given that, I would assume that Max would want to leave. But I suppose the counter argument to that, which is would be to him to stay, is that now he's got all the power. Not just him, by the way. It's Cap Verstappen has got the power. So maybe they've got something up their sleeve. And I guess is the argument for Max staying the fact that Red Bull ownership will go to him and say, "Well, listen, we did exactly what you wanted to do. I know it's a little bit late, but you got your way now. So stick with us, see what 2026 looks like, and then kind of go from there." Shaz, I think this is all about 2026. If Red Bull have a halfway decent Red Bull powertrains have a halfway decent engine that can compete and be in the margins, maybe not be necessarily ahead of Mercedes or even Ferrari, but let's just say be competitive. And by that I mean within a tenth or two, a couple tenths in terms of just measuring performance, right? Let's just say that's how they start out, that you could see a light at the end of the tunnel. You could see that there is potential. Now, whether that gets translated into performance or not, who knows? But I think Max would want to see that. And conversely, he would also want to see what everyone else is doing. Or what if that Mercedes engine isn't as great as it's been built? What if Ferrari are the ones that have it? Oh, wow. That would be a dream come true. I know I said that just because I wanted to, but what if Honda are actually great and in Aston too, right? So there's always the option of waiting it out. So in that sense, Shaz, the only prudent thing in terms of waiting would be to just get an understanding of the landscape around the other teams, because there's no team, maybe outside Ferrari, that couldn't get Max if they really wanted to, or couldn't make room for him rather if he really wanted to be there. So my guess is the only impetus to stay is because of the SH1T that Camp Verstappen, not Max himself, but his group have done behind the scenes in getting Horner eventually out of the door, and then kind of waiting and seeing what the new rule set looks like.
Yeah, so for me, it's not a performance question. Like the performance, all of the evidence that we have in front of us is that performance isn't going to be as good as the best out there in 2026. This is about power, right? This is about power, and it's about control, because what they've managed to do by having ousted Horner, um, Horner having managed to gut the entirety of the team beforehand, is that this is now essentially Team Verstappen, isn't it? Like if you look at all of the machinations that must have gone on in the background, and there's been a heap of stuff that we can talk about. But briefly, there's the fact that the Uvidias, the family that started Red Bull with Dietrich Mateschitz back in the late 70s, early 80s, had through the son of the owner, had 51% of the company. They're now sold 2%, so they're now equal footing with the Austrians, and the Austrians were always a bit against Christian Horner, and you had Helmut Marko there as well, who's a staunch supporter of Verstappen, and the Verstappens in themselves had aligned themselves with that side of the company, and had vocally asked for Horner to be out. It seems that whatever internal power struggle was going on, it seems to have come out in favour of the Austrians, and on the ground in the team, the Verstappens. So rather than this being a performance decision, could this be about, right now that we've got control of this, how do we go about making this our team, right? Team Verstappen with the Red Bull signage above the door, and what value is there to that, even if it means taking a hit in terms of absolute performance in 2026? Does the Verstappen name, the promise of that driving talent, and the thinking behind how he's got there, the development of that, does that then start to attract people back into the fold? Do you start to get people like Adrian Newey, or maybe not, if it's not Newey, the next person down on the track? Like, does it start to build up that team again, to a point that they can start winning again? And actually, that's how Red Bull usher in a new era. And rather than this being a short term thinking about how Max as a driver functions, it's more about what his overall legacy is. Like, does he retire from driving but then fall back into ultimate team management? And that's what he's trying to build, and that's the key that he has in his hand, right now. What value is there in that?
There's tremendous value, Chaz, but I don't know why you're suggesting all of that. I have not heard anything from Max that would suggest that is in his future aspirations. I mean, from what we've been told by him and well, a lot of people that surround him, is that Max is all about racing. He's all about winning a race, and then nothing else really matters, right? I mean, we have infamous quotes that say, if I'm going to come second, might as well not race, right? That kind of stuff, right? So I don't know how you go from that to a more, I guess, an administrative, a leadership role, whatever you want to call that, right? Even if it's being a driver coach, like maybe a Helmut Marko style role, which I think Sebastian is probably more suited to that than him. But I have not heard anything that would be in the aspiration. Now, I suppose if this is a 5-year plan, then yeah, maybe, but then that doesn't mean he can win his fifth
But I'm not
and
saying that.
more.
Come on, he's already managing a GT3 team. Like, how do you know that isn't part of
Mm,
him, like
it's not the
learning the
same thing.
ropes of? But
Oh
I
yeah,
agree with that. But it's him learning the ropes of team management. That's how Christian Horner got into the team principal role, in the first place.
yeah.
He had his own Arden F3000 team, and he made that off his own back. This is essentially the Verstappens having the power to inherit what is Red Bull.
Could be. It could
I
be.
think there's a lot of
It
value for
could be. I
him
mean, so then
in
what you're doing now is, we're transitioning from on track to, as you said, it's not about performance. It's not necessarily about the championships. And that's the part that I would have a little bit of struggle believing, right? It's because if the goal is to win more championships, that's what Camp Verstappen has been telling us really over the course of the last few months, and always, but really over the course of the last few months. Then why look at what the future looks like 5 years from now? I mean, he could, in theory, go to Mercedes and maybe even do something similar in the future too. He would get to learn over there too. I mean, all of those things are available. I don't feel like there's any shortage of exposure to opportunities that would help him get into that role. It just doesn't strike me as something that he wants to do at this point in time. But I could be wrong. But you're right. I mean, clearly this power struggle at Red Bull has a lot to do with Camp Verstappen. So I feel like there's something we just simply don't know about. Like, we have to really find out what happened over the course of the past weekend, around the British Grand Prix, that this sort of really went into. Right, we hear about some sort of feud between, I believe, Max's agent and Red Bull social media guy, and that spiraled
Ray
into something.
Vermeulen, yeah. But
Yes, right, and
Vermeulen's
so,
been there from the beginning, hasn't
and
he?
he has been, and so I don't know what the feud really is, but we don't have all the answers to that, because the one thing about letting Christian go at this point in time, it just doesn't make sense, right? If you're going to do this, you do this much earlier, or you wait another year and see how the new engine's going. Because so maybe Camp Verstappen has somebody, we don't know who, and I don't know, are they gonna, I don't know
But
how
but
they
they
bring Newey
but
back,
they
for
but they
example.
don't even okay, that's me, like, spitballing or whatever, isn't it, right? And as I say, it doesn't have to be Newey, but that name, and the prestige that now brings, I think would be a good, would be a great attraction to a lot of people in Formula One, in the same way that the final seasons of Christian Horner's reign, um, you know, made people reluctant to come and work for Red Bull. Actually, under new management, look, this is a fresh start with a driver that is all about racing, right? Don't
Yeah,
you want to come work for Red Bull?
but
Don't you want to come and bring your expertise here?
I don't know, Shez. New doesn't mean good, right? I mean, I don't know. Like you again, you would have to put somebody in that role that would exude confidence, that would have some proven level of success. And look, man, when Red Bull
It would
started
be. I
20
mean, I
years
was saying
ago,
it
it
would be
was a different
Laurent
thing.
Mekies. I think.
No,
I think
this is
first
not a shot
actually.
at Laurent, by the way. Like, I mean, but I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know enough to kind of say that. But you would really need. I mean, you would really need a Toto like guy to come in. I mean, that's what Christian Horner was. That he was. It's not just the team management. It's the politics of it. It's working. It's working the F1. Refereeing crew, right? All it's all of
Yes,
those intangibles that you cannot
but
just.
that's what I'm talking about, though. What
Yeah,
I'm saying is having that cachet brings those people in, brings in the people that are going to be
yeah,
able to do those things. And at the heart of it, when Red Bull was successful at the beginning, that's what they were. They were a core team of a really effective team principal
sure.
who understood what the politics were.
Hmm.
The best um, designer of his generation, and arguably,
Well,
I'm not going to say it. Vettel was never the greatest driver of his
oh
generation,
man,
but
why
he
is
was
Sebastian taking
still,
it straight,
he was
man?
there. He was there, and he
Oh
knew how to
goodness,
drive that car.
why you got to do that? Like, oh my god,
Sorry, Seth. Sorry, man.
why is Sebastian taking it straight, man? Like, what did he do, man? I
I
don't know
can't help
about
it.
that. He might be replacing Marco, man. You better be careful with those words.
And I'm sure he'll find another person just like himself.
Shez,
Once
I mean, I just say,
he's
look, the other thing that you're perhaps not considering is when Red Bull started, everything that you said in terms of how they put a team together, the expectations are very different. They were an upstart team. They were nothing. They were Jaguar SH1T. That's what they were. From that, go from there to where they are today. Now it's expect. Now you're not like Ferrari, so don't mistaken me. But I'm giving you an analogy in that there's pressure, there's expectations now, and so you cannot just say, "Oh, Max Verstappen is my driver," or go like, "Come on in," and that's going to work out because Max is going to do the driving. But there is a lot of stuff that needs to be done around him that has to happen. And think of Christian however you may, but he had done a massively great job at being able
but
to
that's
to,
what I'm
to
saying.
do
That
all of that, right? So
nobody else could do that job. Okay. Anyway, I think we're heading down
yeah,
a tangent that we can't come
it's
back
fun
from.
Saturday lazy river.
Yeah, that's true. This is fun. In the chat, we still
Oh,
haven't talked about Max going to Cadillac.
oh,
Uh, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
Max could go to Cadillac, but I feel like he not only wants to win races, he wants to be able to finish them. And I have some doubt that they would be able
Good
to do that
God!
in their
Again,
first season.
wait a
Um,
second. Cadillac has Ferrari engines. I don't see any Ferrari engines going kaput. I mean, it's only the Mercedes engines that have had
it's
issues.
not just the engine that needs to work on a Formula One car. Let me tell
I,
you, Roman. Um,
that's what I was saying initially too. Like that's
um,
it's a,
Max to Ferrari. What do you reckon?
oh man. I mean, we could play silly season altogether.
Lewis would literally
There's no way
become
Lewis
lead to
Hamilton is
go.
staying there. There's no way Lewis is staying there. You know that. I mean, even if Christian Gore's there, Lewis is not staying there. Yeah,
It'd be fun
it
though.
didn't
It'd
happen.
be fun to see Charles
Man, there's too
versus
much
Max in the
broken
same
china
team.
in this shop. Like it's not. It's not. I mean, this is fun fantasy games to play. Like I get
Yeah,
it. We can play
yeah,
F1 Manager all day long, but this ain't
yeah.
happening. I mean, Max should go to Ferrari. I don't know if he should go to Ferrari. I mean, Ferrari haven't really shown you anything yet. So, listen, Max Verstappen. If you think you're that great, do it in a Cadillac. Do it. I challenge you. Just do it. I
Well,
mean,
I think Neil Williams has missed a trick. Surely he should be going to your namesake's team and
it should,
driving for Williams. You know, if
could be great.
that for me would be the same as Michael Schumacher going to Ferrari in the
Oh
mid
man.
'90s. Like Max going to Williams and bringing them back to glory,
Uh,
I
so
would be there for it.
so Neil.
But again, that might well be my British bias coming through.
Yeah, I know. I mean, here we're going. Neil, listen to me, friend. Thank you for joining the stream. We really appreciate your call. If you think Max is going to fix Ferrari, sir, you are on something. I can guarantee you that Ferrari will make Max end his career like yesterday. That's what's going to happen. Look at how Lewis is suffering. Like, trust me, I have lived in this in this absolute painful situation for the last 2 decades. Max cannot fix. No one can fix Ferrari. No one. Ferrari can ruin Max. He might even say, "Take all my 4 championships, and just leave me alone." That's what it's going to be, right?
It'll be so
That's what it's
funny
going to
though,
be.
Omar. You'd have Max in the car going, "Oh, you're so stupid," and you'd have Charles in the other car saying, "Oh, I'm so stupid,"
Can
and
you
they would just
imagine?
be, "That's stupid, stupid, stupid,
No,
stupid."
can you
Wait,
imagine
wait,
Max?
we are checking.
Max
We are
back? Yeah,
checking.
we're checking. That's it. That's it. We're checking.
What
Hang
are
on.
you checking?
He's gonna go ram the car into somebody just on. He's like, let me be done with this. Just give me a penalty and ban me for 3 races. I don't need.
Honestly, I would be
Oh my
there just for the
goodness.
frustrated radio
Oof.
messages. What do you mean you
Yeah.
want to bring me in? We've only done one lap.
Poor Fred Vasseur, man. Fred. I don't know why Fred is taking on, but it's just let's get back on track. I want to talk about Russell too, right? Because I know it's romantic to think about Max, but he in fact does have a contract. Like let's not forget that such that contracts are. What do you
Well,
make of
Christian Horner
Russell's
had a contract
situation?
too, but
Huh? I know, I know,
Christian
I
Horner
know,
had a
I know. But
contract too, but
you know what I mean. I mean, contracts are there, and then
not
there
worth
are
the paper
clauses,
they're
and
written on.
I would love for someone to leak all contracts. I don't want to know what they're making. I just want to know when they're actually ending. Like, do you think the drivers would be up for that? Like, just tell me what the performance clauses are. Like, just don't tell us the personal stuff in there. But
It'll be a
like, this
fun
is
game
a
of
fun game.
poker, wouldn't it? I'll trade you 2 years at Red Bull, and I'll raise you 2 more seasons
There
at
you go.
McLaren.
So speaking of your British bias, what should
Mm.
Russell do now? Let's just assume he doesn't have a seat at Mercedes. What should he do?
I mean, it's a bit of a travesty that George seems to have very little agency in his
Why?
own situation. Because look, for me, I think he's a very highly sought after driver because he's having an absolutely phenomenal season right now, and he's coming off the back of you know a pretty impressive season in 2024 as well. So where does George go? I think he's got a heap of options, but what he really wants to do is stay at freaking Mercedes, the team that brought him up, that have invested so heavily in him, that guided him to winning 3 junior championships year on year in a row. This is not a guy that doesn't know how to drive. This is a guy that is outperforming his car on a Saturday and actually has now started to understand the nuances of what he needs to do on a Sunday as well, and has cut out all of the mistakes that we criticized him for. He is a top level performer for me, top three in 2025. So for him to even be considered as a casualty of whatever fallout there's going to be at Mercedes, I think is just ridiculous. But if I was George and Toto is hell bent on having Max, and Max is hell bent on coming to Mercedes, but being teammates to Kimi Antonelli, which I don't blame him. I think that's his prerogative. I think if that's what is going to happen, then George needs to find the best seat possible. It's not Red Bull, right? It used to be, but it's not Red Bull anymore. I
Yeah,
absolutely do not think that George Russell should contemplate going to Red Bull. It's a sinking ship, and he would sink with it along with all his hopes and dreams. But Aston, if Max ain't going to go there and he's getting kicked out, I would be on the blower to Lawrence Stroll saying, look, mate, Fernando, he's pretty good, man, but he's knocking on 44. And you saw what happened to Lewis. You saw what I did to Lewis. I mean, like, let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll bring a bit of English charm. I wouldn't even have to move that far. I literally live up the road in Kings Lynn. I could commute from home. Come on.
wow,
No?
wow.
That's what I would do.
I don't know
That's
if
what I would do if I was George.
by the way, Red Bull will have two
Or
seats open.
or I would await the inevitable fallout that's going to happen at McLaren and then say, look,
It's not going to happen.
guys,
It's not going to happen.
yeah, no, I agree, but those are the two doors
I
I'd
mean,
be knocking on.
if you thought science was without options last year, I mean this is potentially a big travesty in the making if Max
But
does
yeah,
replace Russell.
but science is not.
No, I know.
With the best will in the world, like science is
No,
not George
I
Russell.
agree with you, but I mean, if you look at it on paper, there's no open doors that make sense for Russell. If the seat goes, like,
I think the Aston door
but
makes
that's not
sense.
an open seat, Chess. Like, I don't. I mean, I agree. Like,
I think they would make it an open seat for George Russell. They should.
pro,
If they
pro,
are serious about winning championships, they need a top level driver.
they're not serious
And
about winning championships. I mean, come on. Like, then you
they've
can't have.
they've
You
just
cannot
made
say.
Adrian Newey
I
their technical
understand that.
director and let him have shares in the team.
Okay, the only way that you can prove to me that they're serious about championships is not
Is
necessarily
getting
putting
rid
the
of Lance Stroll.
correct. Like, you
Yeah.
cannot tell me that anyone's serious about that. Like, we just saw what happened at Red Bull. So you're going to tell me that that exact situation is going to be the case at Aston? Like, so I don't understand. Like, I'm really genuinely curious. Like, if Max is not going there, will it be Alonso that stays there? And I think that if, to your point, if Russell comes knocking in, yes, I'm interested. But am I?
I think there would need to be a persuasion job that needs to
Oof.
happen to make Lance Stroll leave that seat. There needs to be something better for him to do, right? Like, I don't know. How about Lance? We're creating the first ever uh, racing championship on the moon. Jeff Bezos is the CEO
Man,
of that championship. Why don't you go and do that? You'd be the champion. No one else is competing.
okay,
Then there would be a seat. But
there
I
goes.
can't see any other scenario
There
because
goes.
for some reason Lance quite likes like annoying everybody else and keeping that freaking seat. It doesn't make any sense to me because he's not. It's not like he's outperforming it. Though he seems to do quite well in changeable conditions. Well done, Lance. You have some skill. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think if one of them is going to go, it's going to be Alonso. And Alonso's only got one season left in him at Aston Martin on his contract. So I think I think they are going to feel a little bit hemmed in by having Alonso there when there are other drivers who are a better option
Yeah.
already on the market.
All right. So everything that you just said about Lance Stroll, like that pretty much ends our ability to get any sponsorship from Aston. So thanks for doing that. Like that I would have hoped you would have held back a little bit, but there it is. We're not.
Papa Stroll, if you want to come on our show and defend
Papa
Lance,
Stroll.
this is your open invitation. I
We're
hope you're
getting
watching.
all but 2 minutes of him. But listen, that'll be totally worth it. By the way, Mr. Stroll, come on down. Yeah, I think it makes sense for. I mean, look, man, Alonso doesn't want to go, and I don't know how you make Alonso go. Now, if Max is coming, I understand that. I hate to be unfair to George. Like, it isn't the same phone call, Chess. Like, that's one that I'm letting go to a missed call, like trying to get a voicemail,
What?
and then deciding because yeah, man, I think this is your British bias speaking. And by the way,
I
all
might have
credit
British
to
bias.
George.
I think you're being like racist towards British people.
What do you mean? I didn't even.
Yeah, I think you have been
I
for
didn't
months,
say.
and I've just let it
I
go
just got
nicely.
done saying this would be the most unfairest
I
thing
think you'd be
to
nicer to
Russell
me if
again.
I had an American accent.
So we rule these days now. Haven't you seen what tariffs and whatnot? But listen, I mean,
It would
yeah,
be
I
a
don't know what
great
George does.
move.
I don't know
I
what
think
George
Max
does.
would be great at Aston Martin. It would be powerful.
Oof. We're doing this live, aren't we, Shaz? Okay, all right.
Right.
It is. Yeah. Look, it makes sense to get rid of Alonso if that's the case. I don't feel like Alonso is going to want to get rid of himself if that happens, particularly if he's got that 1 year. I mean, it is not. His seat is there, so I think you have to make a case to go and speak to Lance about this and promise something else that's greener. But that would potentially be a very great
Greener
combination.
than an Aston Martin? What? Nothing's greener than an Aston
I don't
Martin.
know. There's probably something
They're
out
in British bias
there.
racing green.
They really are. I mean, maybe go to Cadillac or something. By the way, I just want to say quickly that the stake Audi option doesn't feel all that bad. I mean, they may or may not have an engine. They certainly seem to have a good team put together behind your boy Mattia and the Red Bull genius that is
That's
Jonathan
right.
Wheatley. I mean, that's right.
That's
So
right.
I
That's
don't know.
right.
Maybe
That's it.
Carlos made the wrong decision too. Who knows?
Yeah,
He
that's
might
right.
have actually been on a podium this year, like for crying out loud. So
That's right. There you go. And on that note, I think we should probably call it.
we
We've
should
been
call
going
it.
for nearly an hour, guys. This has been great. Thank you for all of your comments. We've been reading them and trying to get as many in as possible. But thank you so much for listening to our nonsense for nearly an hour. I think we're going to keep doing some of these lives. They're super fun for us. And I hope they are for you guys too. Keep joining, keep liking, keep subscribing. Leave us some comments. We'll read as many as we can. We'll reply to as many as we possibly can. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Later.